Hi, this is Jamie and Jason, and thanks for tuning into another wonderful Parents Lounge podcast live. Today, January 11th, 2022. And like most parents out there, we have got a lot to get off our chests. Like how if I hear the term "it's not fair" one more time when in reference to the amount of mac and cheese one child got compared to the other, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay. Today, we're going to be discussing splitting up kids, especially twins, for a little divide and conquer going on.
I have a story there.
I bet you do. We'll discuss those insane parents who have tried to live a life without caffeine. I mean, I
don't understand the statement.
No, most people won't. They probably need to be locked up before they do real harm to themselves. And I will be showing my new line of men's erotic underwear that was designed over a long time, very specifically with the ladies in mind. Oh. I think you'll get a kick out of that. To bring a voice of reason to the show, we'll have our resident moms, Kate and Claire, weigh in on exactly what us dads are doing wrong.
Which is everything.
I'm joking. They won't. I mean, Mulligan will. She's going to destroy all of us, but Claire's actually very sweet. And we'll also be joined by our special guest, my pal and hilarious mom, a comedian from The Tonight Show, Last Comic Standing, The View, and her Comedy Dynamics special, Way After School special, comedian Tammy Pescatelli is here. Yes, she's going to be very happy with that photo. That's a good photo. Hey, if you're listening to this show on iTunes, please be sure to subscribe, for the love of God, and write a fantastic review, will you? It does help. And as a parent, I mean, those are the kind of little things that get you through the day, don't they, Jason?
Yes, and we even have a contest about it.
That's true. You want to actually do that right now? Tell people. If you write a good review, you get some swag or merch, I think, right?
Yeah, you get your choice of either a Parents Lounge wine glass or a Parents Lounge scotch glass, which we will ship directly to you. All you have to do is send us a glowing review on iTunes and send us a screen cap showing that you did it.
That seems like an easy thing for a wine glass. That seems like an easy deal. Also, if you are listening on there, try in the future to come watch us live every Tuesday. We're on Facebook, YouTube, or even Twitch, where you can comment along with us in real time. And if you know a parent who sits in their car in front of their house to get away, be sure to share our show with them. So now we're going to play our opening theme song, which will give you just enough time to pour a big, delicious cocktail and come back for your weekly laugh therapy here in the Parents Lounge.
You'll have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death, go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents Lounge is the cure to staying sane.
Welcome. Here we are. Well, without further ado, Jason, why don't we bring in our resident moms, Claire Kramer and Kate Mulligan. Hey, guys.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, everyone. And you, Jason. And you, Jamie. And you, Kate.
Hey. It's always nice.
I can hear Claire, but Mulligan is, well, I'm not even sure I want to fix it.
Is this better?
I was muted. All I kept saying on repeat was Claire's hair. Claire's hair. Not Claire's here. Claire's hair. We can say it.
On my best day, I will never look as good as Claire does on like when she had COVID. Like I will never hit that level. I peaked a long time ago, and like every day I'm like, my God, it must be fantastic to look so glorious every single day of your life.
I think you guys are just impressed because for the first time in like a month, I'm not wearing my beanie. So
is that it? Is that what we just got? I'm going through beanie withdrawal.
Yeah, the beanie got put back up. Real life has started. So 2022 is officially underway.
The beanie's so LA too, right? It's like it's always from like a Who Wore It Better from like People magazine. Because when I first moved to LA, I'm from New Hampshire. I was like, I'm never wearing a stocking cap in Los Angeles, and then I wear it all the time. It's like the neighbors laugh at me. I'm like, it's in the 60s. I'm freezing. I'm putting a stocking cap on my head.
Is it true that our blood thins? Is that why we get cold out here? Is that real science?
I don't know if I don't think that your blood thins, but I think your body acclimates to that temperature being a certain way. And then, because I know when I moved to Florida and then moved back to Pennsylvania, I couldn't deal with I moved from Florida to Pennsylvania. There's no brag there, Mulligan.
Honestly, yeah, there actually is.
It was a life sentence.
Well, I'm from New Hampshire, and I can tell you I didn't like it when I lived there. But I will tell you that my blood does thin. Pretty much every time I drink another glass of bourbon, it just thins just a little bit out. And, pretty soon, a couple more glasses, no more blood. Just
bourbon veins, baby.
Speaking of cold weather and the East Coast, maybe we should bring in our guest, who is a East Coast lady and a mom and super funny, and we pummeled through her credits, which are crazy long in the opening. Please welcome our guest this week, Tammy Pescatelli.
Hi, everyone. It is me who is honored. Like, I'm big fans of the ladies, both of us. Let's just talk a little bit about that. I mean, you can't be a Buffy fan and Claire. Hello. I mean, I'm just crazy. So yes, and I'm cold. So I think that all helps everything. Yeah.
Now, where are you, Tammy?
None of your business, Jason.
Yeah.
No, I'm in Pennsylvania too, but I'm probably on the opposite end of you. I grew up in Northeast Ohio. I had a getaway house from LA here in Pennsylvania, and then got pregnant, and my agent said, your career is going to be over because I've never seen a pregnant woman on stage. And I was like, you have never been to a bad strip club. And it became a great joke. But I literally came here, and I fired him, by the way. And then I immediately fired him and walked out. I didn't really walk out. I kind of pushed my big fat belly up and hobbled out. He got fired by the Penguin, but it was fun. And now we're here, and it makes sense. But I do miss everyone.
I think it totally makes sense. It's so funny because I'm not sure why anybody's in Los Angeles anymore. You can do anything from anywhere now, so it doesn't.
Now. Now, when we first left, it was literally, my son is 13. It was 13 years ago, and we had a short-lived like reality season about our series about me being a wife, a mother, and a comedian, leaving LA and because of the crazy people, and then moving them around my family, which are crazier than crazy strangers. Because at least you keep stranger danger. You don't know how to tell. It was hard for me to explain to my son, no, if Uncle Troy shows up at school, you do not go with him. You know? Yes, he's mommy's brother, but you don't go. Okay.
That's funny. I think we're all from those. My family's exactly the same. Where like all of a sudden my mother would be like, well, your aunt died. And I go, she did? When? 2 years ago. And I was like, what? And then there's some weird, crazy accident. You're like, okay, I think I don't even want to know now what happened in my family. But it's every family's got that crazy.
And what also you find if you are in any level of showbiz, listen, I'm just a working comic. I just work, I trap but that I always call them citizens. Citizens don't understand. They either think that you should, like that you went to Tom Cruise's house on a regular basis and hung out, or they go, oh, well, are you still doing comedy? You mean for the past 25 years? You mean like, do I have any other mark? They're either counting your money or counting your credits. You have there's no median in this.
Tammy, I'm from Ohio too. So girl, I'm with you. I'm from more central Ohio, north of Columbus. But I am relating to everything.
Mansfield, what? Ashland, what? I know.
Delaware, Nowhere.
Oh, I love Delaware.
So you were talking about a stand-up mother. That was the show you ended up making.
Yeah, well, it was the weirdest thing. I had this development deal, and the company called me, and I was like, look, I didn't hear from him for a while because it was a writer strike. When I first got pregnant, there was a writer strike in like 2007. Yeah. And then they called me it was 2008. And I'm like, yeah, I don't live in LA. I had a kid. I don't think you want anything to do with me. And they're like, no, that's the story we want.
That is the story.
That's the story.
No.
That's the story. So we were on the cusp of, I'm a pop-up VCR, Jamie, is what I am. Like, I'm always on the cusp of things. Like, I had a hybrid reality show before hybrid reality shows. Like, no one knew what to do with it. You know, like, we had a lot of, I call it a less funny Larry David.
It's funny you talked about the fact that nobody, you know, once you were pregnant, everybody was like, that's the end of your career. But of course, soon after that, a bunch of female comics were like, hey, here's my special. I'm pregnant. And that was whole.
You're welcome.
I know. You're just always, you're ahead of your time, Tammy. That's the problem.
I'm telling you, it was crazy. I mean, I even got fired. I've never been fired in my life. But I got fired in Florida because I showed up 7 months pregnant, and the club owner called my new agent and said, I don't think anybody's going to be comfortable with her being pregnant. I'm like, isn't that to me? By the way, I have to work until I have this baby. There's no maternity leave in comedy. Like, the baby's not just going to come out with a wallet. Like, I got to figure this out. Like,
I'm so confused. The guy said you couldn't be funny if you were pregnant, or nobody wanted to see. Like, somebody would be creeped out and go, "Oh, what's this disgusting beast in front of me telling jokes?"
Or was it more a concern, like the water would break and wash down over the stage? Like, was that the concern?
Yeah, because
like,
that's my big closer, Jace. That's what I was hoping for. I was like, this is how to do it. I did used to pretend that I was going to light up a cigarette and have a drink, but either way.
But I know that would be fine. So
absolutely.
When is your child's birthday? Because I think we were pregnant with with my first at the exact same time.
February. I'm like, what? I only have one, and I can't remember. February 26th, 2000.
February 4th.
Oh, see, we definitely were.
I'm like, this is resonating with the writer's strike, because I was like, oh, this is a great time to be pregnant. Like, writer's strike, and have a baby. We'll get right back to work.
Well, and that's the thing. You guys got cast. I was on the road, like, with drunks at 10 o'clock and at night. Like, I'm now, as old as I am, finally starting. People are thanking me for small parts and every mob part, like every, hey, want a meatball, get wet kind of job. Yeah. I get those. But, like I make my living on the road. So I was like, and then I started thinking, how's this going to work? Like, am I going to put the baby in a backpack and go on stage? Like, I have to be on a flight every week to go to work anyway.
Like, I'm actually curious. How did you keep traveling?
Well, living here in this small, first of all, when you live in central, like, where are you from originally, Kate?
I'm from Downers Grove, Illinois.
Okay, so a little bit, like, you can drive a lot of places, especially where I'm originally from, where I started my comedy career in Cleveland, and now living in Meadville, Pennsylvania. What up? It's Northwest PA. I can drive so many comedy clubs and literally be home within the middle of the night. And then my parents moved here to help me. And my husband is an amazing father. Oh, awesome. Not so good husband, but amazing father. No, I'm just kidding. He's
wow, why are you talking to my wife? That sounds like my wife. We'll have a huge fight. And then begrudgingly at the very end, I'll be like, why are we doing this? And she's like, well, you're a pretty good dad.
Yeah. But
everything else, like, you're the worst husband that's ever lived. But the kids seem to like you, so we'll keep you around.
That's it. I said that my son is literally 13, and I looked at my husband the other day, and I go, wow, he's getting old. And he goes, yeah, what are we going to do when he leaves? And I'm like, get a divorce. What are you talking about? I got one of those little clocks upstairs in the office counting down right now.
You know how they have like a pension calculator? Like,
exactly.
Like a divorce calculator of like, okay, so the kid goes to college, and then the next day, that's funny. The difference is, Tammy, you and Claire were pregnant at the same time. Tammy obviously learned her lesson. Claire had 3 more kids over the next 4 years. So
God bless you. Well, once I learned that's what sex ended in, like, I'm from Cleveland. I watched the Browns. I never saw them go to the Super Bowl. I didn't know how that ended. I've never had the ability to play Monopoly to the end. I never played things to the end. Once I realized I had this kid, I realized this is the end result of sex. I'm done. I was out.
Yeah, it's called
Yeah,
it's called refinding your virginity. Yeah, it's a thing a lot of moms go through.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm
a virgin again. I'm a virgin again too. It's great.
Well, this is crazy then, because some other woman, there's another mom influencer who put a big post out about couples fighting because they're not having enough sex or something, and I wrote stupidly. I wrote on a mom thread.
Yes, just because your name is Jamie, they know.
And my 2 cents, which they loved, and I was pretty honest. I said, hey, you know, the male sex drive is still strong for longer, and the women's sex drive after kids feels to me like, I talk to a lot of dads, it feels like it diminishes, and it feels like we're crossing in the night or something. You should have heard they.
You don't have to. I hear it in my head right now. That same voice is in my head.
They were like, are you kidding me? Our sex drive is insanely high. My husband won't have any sex. And I was like, I don't know what's happening anywhere. I don't know.
My experience is closer to yours, Jamie. I think I don't know. I think it's specifically when you have younger kids, but I'm about to turn 40. I can't wait because everybody tells me I'm about to get my second wind. I'm like,
Ooh.
yeah.
Well,
Come on, wind.
Listen, it's not, can we just stop about menopause and we can stop? It's, you know what it is? It's the same person. Let's be real about it.
Yeah.
That's the whole, like, there's nothing, I love my husband, but it's all, I don't care. If you say that you are having hot sex 25 years in with someone, then that's because you forgot. You have early onset dementia and you don't know, you think it's new. Okay? Because it's over. Stop. I lived way before they slut shamed. When they did slut shame, I lived. And I'm telling you, it's not the same to keep doing it. The same person, 25. Hello. Hey. All right. Lock the door. There's the dog. The dog is looking at me. The dog is looking at me. Please stop. I can't see. The dog is looking at me. It's weird. It's creepy. We don't even have a dog. You know. Hard.
Tammy,
I just know. I mean, guys. I feel like guys would fire it up all the time, like every day, pretty much. It's an everyday of like, and women. I don't feel like it's their jam, but those women lit me up. They lit me up.
Go ahead.
You sent me the message. You're like, I'm gonna post this today. I'm gonna post this right now here. What do you think they're gonna do? I'm like, oh, they're coming for you, and he did, and they certainly did.
Can we do? Isn't it funny?
They said they had huge sex. We all have so much sex drive, and our husband won't have sex with us. And I was like, wow, I don't know what's happening.
Well,
because you're busy posting on social media all day while he's trying to have sex with you, probably. I think the other thing is what the bigger picture of what you're telling me, like, set aside sex drive. Yes, I love him. Blah, 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 I find him attractive. But the fact is that I think that it's horrible now that you can't have an opinion unless you are quantified and qualified, check mark for check mark on things.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, you must be dealing with this in the clubs every week. Every week, it just must be. I mean, are you getting in fights with audience members every?
No, because I immediately go on stage. My first thing is, these are the exits.
Yes, Tammy.
Oh, I love
that. There's an exit there. There's an exit there. This is, I'm about to say some stuff. Some of you who aren't secure in who you are and are upset because I'm fully who I am, it's going to tickle you and you're going to feel it and it's going to rise up underneath and you're going to want to jump up like a whack-a-mole. But keep your mouth closed and walk to the exit.
Yes.
I just
love that.
Oh.
I'm still shocked. I do the same. I yell at them right out of the chute and be like, hey, and then they just feel entitled to start chatting with you. And it's worse than I've ever seen it in history.
But, you know, for me, I've always had it. And it's unfortunate, but like we go back to, and listen, I've always just wanted to be a comic. I was never a female comic, but you have to remember that I started when I was 23 years old. There were probably no BS 20 working women.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, there were famous women that were on TV all the time and they stayed but 20 working female comics. And I was young and I would go on stage, 2 bras, what I considered the lesbian comedian uniform, because it was the vests and the t-shirts and the big hair with the big jacket over it. Like, so to have no sexuality at all. And constantly people would scream at me, whether it was a drunk woman who needed attention or a guy who was just insecure in himself. But I grew up. That's why I'm a comic, because I grew up with all boys. I grew up in an Italian house. I've been dealing with hecklers since I was about 4 years old, so I've always been that.
Tammy, it's so funny you just said that, because I completely forgot. I used to have a stand-up uniform when I was first starting out, which was like, I'm not a working comic right now. I'm an okay, I dabble.
Yeah.
But at some point I was doing it with regularity when I was like 22, 23. And I always wore it's so funny. I'd never thought about it this way, but I always wore the same thing. I always wore, for lack of the better term, but a wife beater, because it was like very masculine to me. And so I always wore like just a white tank top, and like it showed my, obviously I have very little titties anyway, but it was to me, because it was like, it had a masculine energy about it. And I felt like I had to come out being masculine.
Well, it is true. I mean, there's a whole group of young girls who are now, very funny comics. I'm so thrilled to see them. But when they posed naked on their album covers and then complained about toxic masculinity at the Comedy Store, I was like, you brought that energy there. I have toxic masculinity. I exude toxic masculinity. That's who I am. You had to be tough. It's not about being mean or toxic or masculine. You just had to be tough. And if that's what you consider toxic masculinity, then that's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, man.
By the way, this is fake. By the way, this is my fake microphone. So just so you know, I just like holding on to microphone. I have like a real nice microphone over here, but I get tactile sometimes and I have to have it in order to feel.
We never would have known.
Yeah.
So you had kids a little bit later. You were on the road for all those years. What was it like? I mean, as a woman, it must be crazy to pull into like the Chuckle Hut in the middle of the country and you're there for like the whole weekend, 5 days.
Well, I didn't know any different. And like literally, Jamie and I, we share our manager still, right? Our friend, yeah. So
yes.
Our manager and I are going to start a podcast. I'm doing a comedy and crime podcast, because I was one of the only. I stayed with a serial rapist in a condo, and I was very creeped out about him before we knew that he was a serial rapist. But I was afraid to complain, because I knew that they would just say, "Oh, do you want to go home?" Because I was this girl. They would have these condos where these comics would stay, and Vince Champ, this serial rapist, I don't know, Claire, I'm sure you've heard these guys talk about it. And Kate, I don't know if you went on, but the condos were like just flop houses. They were hostels for comics. And on Mondays and Tuesdays, depending on what, and usually they were Wednesday through Sunday, the club, some early started, they were Tuesdays, but they literally, you'd be there. They'd let you stay because maybe you wanted to go on to the next place. And the new comics would come in, or maybe people passing by, you'd get the condo number and say, hey, I'm going to stop there and stay. And you just never knew who was showing up, which was a lot of fun 9 times out of 10. But I stayed with this guy, 3 cities in like 4 months. And it turns out that one of the cities that I stayed with him in, he raped a girl the night that we stayed in the condo together. Oh, and she probably saved my life. I just have been in communication with her, because if that rapey energy goes somewhere, like if he wouldn't have been able to do it, sadly, I mean, he was violent rapist, like knife to the neck and then say, pray for me afterwards. He would have killed me, because he would have had to kill me, because I knew who he was. So when you think about that kind of stuff, that was just a typical, I would show, and I was interrogated by the FBI, because then they thought I was his girlfriend, and for 12 hours badgered me because I was covering for this guy. Yeah. Because they didn't understand the nature of the condo. You know what I mean? Like, gotcha. You stayed with him here. You stayed with him there. I go, yeah, at the Funny Bone in Rock Island, like at the Funny Bone in Des Moines. Like, I was at work, so it was. How was
his act? Was his act at least funny?
He was hysterical.
Yeah.
But if you go watch it now, it was. I always say this. It's kind of. I know we're parents listening, so it was kind of a guy who does jokes to try to evoke I'll say it in a positive way so kids can hear it, to try to evoke some fuzzy feelings for himself from women. You know, those guys who use their act in order to, I'm such a good guy.
You ever met Jamie Kaler?
This guy?
Why do you think I got to stand up in the first place?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's the only reason I ever got in.
Nobody has ever gotten on stage and looked like such a good guy as Jamie Kaler.
But
that's Claire.
I've seen Jamie's act. Jamie, there's some time. I'll tell you off podcast. I don't want to say it.
You can see some guys' acts. You do see a guy's act, and you're like, "Oh, dude, you're coming up."
What they're doing?
I can name a handful of guys right off the top of my head and go, "Yeah, his act, that guy's acting weird."
Yeah, right. Oh, my bank account. The bank called me and asked me to open another account because it was so full. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh God, I got fired the other day for being too good at my job.
Yeah, my wife doesn't like me because I hurt her back. If you know what I mean.
Hey, I want to talk about.
Look at Jason's face.
Tammy, really quick, I want to talk about your son because he's at an age where he's doing really fun things for you. So I guess he found filters on your phone or something. We're going to bring this up. And Tammy, you can talk about how great kids are and what they do for you. So I'll show this and then you kind of tell what happened.
Well, how about I was okay. So you see this picture right here on the side? I don't know what. I didn't have any makeup on, and I needed a photo real quick. Somebody wanted a photo for something, and he's 13. He's excellent with that stuff. I should have a built-in techie. Okay, that's what it should be. So many people are paying for social media managers. I have a 13-year-old that I pay for his PlayStation 5. I had to trade my vaccination for his PlayStation 5. Like, he literally should be helping me at all times. And I said, could you put a filter on this for mommy? Because I just put I need to look nicer in this. I don't have any makeup on and I need to send this out. And it was for some stupid audition, and that's what he sent me back.
Were you though a little bit proud of how funny, that's a funny kid.
He is so funny. He's funnier than I will ever have been or that I am because he's allowed to be.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate it.
Fostered, yes.
Yes. My family, it was children should be seen and not heard. Like, shut up and sit down. Oh my God. They were mortified. If I made a joke over something, they were mortified. Please, it's old Italian cultures, sign of the cross. Oh my God, I can't believe she said that. And that went on my entire life. I would be 29, 30 years old at a wedding and people go, when are you going to get married? I'm like, don't worry, you'll be dead. They just go on. But he'll be funnier than my husband. My husband's super funny, but in a different way. He does stand up, but he was a comedy actor. Like, he's good at pranks and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, he'll love it.
Tammy, I imagine
that's the skill. He goes, he's a comedy actor. He's good at pranks. He's really good at.
Yeah, well, he does. He always likes to laugh. I was like someone who. You have to understand, I think I got into comedy because I needed to laugh. But I'm so dumb. I should have just worked at a comedy club or been, I did work at a comedy club. And then a woman came through and I was like, I think, oh my God, women do that? Young women. I knew that, Phyllis Diller, Joan Rivers, Roseanne were doing it. I just never had seen someone in their 20s do it, a female. So I was like, oh my God. But I would have been happy just trying to laugh because I would laugh so inappropriately or make jokes at stupid stuff all the time and get in so much trouble. I'm that person I'm the black sheep of my family, except that, by the way, the black sheep is the one who ends up taking care of everybody at the end.
That's right. Tammy, I imagine that your wedding to your husband started like this. Okay, here's the exits. There's one there. There's one there.
So listen, you really want to hear the truth? And we covered it in my TV show because we, like I said, it was like Larry David. We went back. But when we got married, I didn't want to do anything big. His brothers all got married within a year and a half of each other. He's got 3 brothers, Brooklyn boys. Those girls went from Nantucket to, Martha's Vineyard with carriage rides. And I mean, they got bigger and bigger. Princess Diana was going come on. you know, and I was like, that's just not me. Like, it occurred to me that this was their glamour shots photo. Like, I have enough attention. I have enough attention. I have enough attention. So we went to Justice of the Peace. Well, my mother-in-law is right from Italy, and she's very tough. Very, like, in my act, I joke and say the Pope would stab her with his hat. Like, she's tough. She told everyone that she didn't believe we were married because she didn't see it. So when it came time to baptize my son, I said, okay, we're going to have a party. We'll call it a wedtismal, because then she will have nothing to compare it to, because no one I know has ever had a wedtismal. It's my Festivus. So there was nothing for her to go. Because she would have never accepted that I just wanted to have something simple. She needed you to spend money.
That is so funny about her.
Yeah.
She's the top of the family.
Even ahead on the Festivus, I think. I don't know. When did that episode air? Either right with or ahead. Yeah.
Somewhere around there, but it was like, it definitely, for me, the wedtismal and my mother-in-law in true Italian protest style. You guys wouldn't understand, but maybe you would. I don't. But like, she wore a pantsuit, a red pants, like a Hillary Clinton red pantsuit to my wedtismal. That was her silent protest, because you see, Italian mother-in-laws dressed just like the bride, basically in an off-color gown normally at a wedding. But so for her to wear a pantsuit was her big protest. The whole thing.
Do you guys get along, your mother-in-law and you?
We do now. When we first left LA, I always had this house, but I wasn't planning on staying here. We bought a house in Brooklyn, one attached Brooklyn house next to my mother-in-law, because I thought that it'll be easy for me to work. Everybody, we're in show business.
Makes sense.
I went to work one day. It was like a scene from a movie. I came home, I pull up, I'm paying for the cab. That's how long ago it was. Like, my son is like 2 months old. My furniture is all over the place. I see a man walking away with my grandmother's chair. I run down. I have to pay him $20 to grab it back. I pull it back. I'm walking up the steps on the stoop. She's got the baby with formula after I had nursed I've been like a udder, like a cow, like milked by a machine, planning for the 24 hours I was gone. And she was like, I got a new furniture. I got rid of yours because I had shabby chic, and she just thought it was old. So I went to the house in PA, and I said to my husband, if you want to grow up, Peter Pan, I will be in Pennsylvania with your son. And then he showed up a few days later. He showed up by the deadline. How about that?
Yeah. Hey, I need to know more about the chair. Did you only salvage the one chair?
I salvaged about 4 pieces. And no, it was all gone. And I'm also very OCD. God. By the time it was outside, I was out of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know how long. Yeah. I'm so OCD. So she got rid of everything.
She bought you new furniture.
No. She didn't buy me new furniture. You see, she got new furniture and gave me her old furniture.
Oh,
that's even creepier. That's awful.
Listen, now that I know her, listen. Now that I know her, I understand her thought process. However, I'm literally a month or 2 postpartum, right? I'm trying to change. I'm trying to be married, all this stuff at the same time. Just a phone call. And my husband's like, she was trying to be nice. And I'm like, no. She was trying to control my life. That's what she was doing.
She was being subversive. Yes. You are a better woman than me. I would be in jail for the rest of my life, because at 2 months postpartum with the nursing, I would have cut a bit.
It was insane. It was insane. It was really, it felt like it, and now we're good. You know how we're good though? I realized, and it's a theory that I have, and it almost may be sexist, but I am a woman, so I don't know if I can be technically sexist, but it's a realization from my mother, from all of the traveling. I mean, I'm a social observer, I think that a lot of women stop maturing, especially in our mother's generation, at the age that they got married. And you have to treat them unless they have done something to further that maturity, therapy, education, whatever the case may be. And my mother-in-law stopped going to school when she got married at 17 years old, then I have to treat her like a 17-year-old girl. She has the same tantrums as a 17-year-old girl. She wants attention like a 17-year-old girl. And once I started doing that, our lives became easier.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Does she only speak Italian?
Oh no, she speaks English, but she speaks Italian when she wants to try to, because she forgets that I speak Italian. So she'll say something. Oh, this one she never cook. I'm like, you remember? I speak Italian.
I understand everything you say. Yeah. Pretty funny. Did you go back to that club that wouldn't let you
no.
go on because you were pregnant?
No. I play the theater across the street.
You should have gone back after and been pumped on stage. Wow.
What you should have done is pulled a Pretty Woman and been like, big mistake. Big mistake.
Well, I did. They built a theater across the street that's not affiliated with the club. I mean, it's like a corner. It's not directly, but it's like it's in Florida, like around the side of the block. And I play that theater, and it's a 300-seat theater, and I make sure that we sell it out every year. And Florida doesn't care about COVID. And so
they invented it.
Yeah. So I just go there every year.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question for you girls. Jason knows what's coming, but I was always wondering why there wasn't sexy underwear for men per se.
Yeah. It's because yeah.
But why?
I don't need to see it.
Well, I have a new.
Well, can I just real quick?
Yes, please.
One word: skid marks.
Oh,
well,
that would be.
And I will say
women don't get skid marks, Tammy. Please.
I just like young girls want a man to wipe, right? I mean, so that's all
also,
we're trying to do.
Yeah. Also, we do the laundry. We don't need to see that. But you may not have sexy underwear, Jamie or Jason, but some non-heterosexual men do have sexy underwear.
Yes.
So it is out there. It
I
is
used to have the boxer brief.
There is a market for men.
It's called
exist.
Back in the day, there was. It's absolutely true. And you would go to pick out underwear, because I remember one time I had to buy some on the road, and I didn't know at that time that you couldn't try them on, and I didn't know my sizes, so I went to go in the dressing room with underwear, and the woman was like, "Dude, where are you going?" I go,
Try them on, right?
I don't know what cut. This is a weird. There's like a million different styles. I don't want to be the dude who's like just looking at the chiseled guy with the banana hammock. And of course, I get upstairs and I have a show that night. I'm on the road, and it's literally a pouch with just a strap. And every time we moved on stage, the stuff fell out of the cup. It was just a disaster.
It wasn't the support he was looking for.
No, and at that point, no man gets left behind. Everybody back on the chopper. We're out of here. You can't. There's people going every which way. It was awful. But here's what happened. So it took me 20 years to make it, and I was thinking about it. My wife wants me to get rid of my boxers. They're kind of beat up, but it's gotten to the point where they have become
easy access.
Yeah, right. So in one way, it's almost rustic sexy that it's like wearing a little mini skirt, and my wife's like, "You need to throw those out." And I go, "Come on, baby. That's like,
You're Mormon. They're holy underwear."
Yeah. So here's the question.
Or possibly you have a small problem with moths.
Yeah, or you have caustic ball sweat. Who's to say what the cause is? Is that
my balls are made of sandpaper, and it's just been slowly it's like my balls are the ocean, and that underwear is like a stone that is neatly polished over time. And now I think that they're super erotic, and that it just when she's like, "Hey, let the boys out to play," I'm like, boom, done. No hands. I don't even need to use my hands. It's just like I just kind of shake it, and everything spills out.
It spills out, yeah.
It's like a
pinata.
piñata that's been opened.
I think it's a new market opportunity for you. A new market opportunity.
Yeah.
I would argue that in the summer and the hotter months, it is a cooling thing.
Yeah.
It's gross. Let's just call it what it is.
But I will tell you on that chain, so that text chain that I commented about men and women having sex, they were all like, because the article was like, men would get more sex if they did these 6 things. And one was like, shower regularly, don't be such a fat pig, maybe throw a compliment are what, you know, like it was like the basic things. And I was like, well, that's just human interaction. Forget sex. How about just not be try to be a good person in the beginning without the sex involved. But the women are like, no, Kayla, you're an idiot. And they live.
You're not allowed. It's the weirdest thing anymore. You're not allowed to comment on certain things. You're not allowed to have an opinion. One of the best things is I feel like we're at an age now where at a time where like there's so much, it's like false, fake hope because women are coming so far. Support women. And then if I say something that's offline, they're like, you're old. Wait a second. Like, that's the first thing. That's your first thing. You're old. You know, that's what we're going.
They go, okay, boomer, shut up. And I'm like, never.
First of all, yeah, I am old. And you know what? When I was your age, I wasn't typing the Golden Girls. I was out hanging out with Clippers. That's what I was doing. Not hair clippers, Los Angeles Clippers.
Okay.
So who lived a life?
You believe you lived a life. It's funny too because I'm the same. I grew up in New Hampshire, and it was funny because I try to tell, and the kids don't want to listen to you, and you're like, honestly, it was kind of better before the internet. Everyone's like bullshit, and you're like, hey, it was kind of, I don't know, it was simpler. But you were writing something about the drive-in movies, weren't you? At some point, because I grew up at a drive-in movie theater in Hooksett, New Hampshire. That was like we went there every night during the summer. That's where we kind of hung and partied and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely a whole idea. It also lets you know how much that people didn't care about kids because we go to a drive-in movie and there'd be a kids movie and the next movie was an R-rated movie, like for grown-ups. And they didn't care. When the R-rated movie came on, they were like, just to cover your eyes. I'm like, I can hear. You have a speaker in the car. You put that thing right here. So it was just.
I feel like R-rated back then was much less. Don't you think? It was like a flash of a boob and maybe one F-bomb, and they were like, "Oh, that's R-rated."
Yeah, I don't know. I think that all of it is so much too. Then sometimes I see TV, and I really think it all kind of switched after the Clinton Monica Lewinsky stuff you couldn't say. And then the moment you heard like all that being said on the news, it was all over. All bets are off. But they still bang comedians out about it. Like, submit your set for this or that. If you're going to do the Tonight Show, make sure it's word for word. You cannot veer off the set. And I'm like, you say dumb stuff on your news. Why are you doing this to me?
It's funny. My husband and I, when we lived in a condo, we had thin walls, but we would watch HBO. Like we'd be watching Boardwalk Empire or whatever. And like, there'd be like the most graphic sex scene, like, and we would always just be like, it's just HBO. We would always just yell, it's just HBO. And to this day, it's like still a bit, now we have a house because we are blessed, but like now we still do it. Like whenever there's something uncomfortable, we're always like, it's just HBO. The best was when once we were having sex and I yelled out, it's just HBO.
Wow.
Bits in bed, baby. Bits in bed.
That's what is that? Does that turn your husband on?
Yeah, listen.
It is crazy now because I'll have the TV on and my daughters are like through the house. I'm like, I can't watch that. Okay, that's off. That's off. Okay.
Yeah, but we care. It's a different kind of parenting. Someone was just asking me the other day about there's a new type of gentle parenting. Have you heard about this?
No.
Where like they gently redirect. I don't think it's a good idea that you eat another cookie because if you eat that cookie, then it could later on when you become a grown-up like mommy, you might have a bad heart and you won't be able to run and play with your friends. Listen, lady, grown-ups aren't running and playing with their friends, okay? Like that's like literally stop. I mean, I don't know. That's just not how I grew up. I think that I'm a way more understanding parent than I had. Certainly, but I also only have one. So we have conversations. But
we have conversations, but even like I'll tell Hannah something and then I'm just like, this is going to happen. So I don't know what else to tell you. And she'll just keep coming at me like, why? I go, all you're saying is irrelevant. This is about to happen. I don't know what else to tell you. Either accept your fate or don't. You can fight and then we'll do this, but this is how, I don't know what to do with her. Like I try to have conversations, but at some point you're like,
This is actually like a really good topic, okay? Because I'm curious. This happened to me today. I got railroaded, and 2 of my kids are home from school. They stayed home today. So I'd like to know, what do you do when they start that with like, I'm sick and in the morning? And I feel like with me, once I give in to one, all of them jump on that train. Like they see an opening and they're like diving through it, you know? So what do you do when the kid is like, oh, I don't feel well in the morning? You want to be empathetic and you want to like give validity to that, but also sometimes you just know they're faking it. So
well, they do a filibuster on you, like it just won't stop. I'm like, oh my God,
they do.
knock it off. Like, please stop. I can't. I've already addressed this 17 times. But nowadays it's a different story because you have to with school. Like, I mean, and if they show, if they literally, if they start choking on something at lunch, choke on a tater tot, they'll call the school, call you and say, well, get them COVID tested. So you have to go get them now. I mean, we went through this big thing recently because I went through my son's phone. He's a good kid. I just picked it up and I looked through it, and my husband was like, you got to give him his privacy. No, I absolutely do not.
No.
Yeah. I'm not digging. It's the same. I said to him, it's the same way I have your password. I don't go through your phone, but in case I want to, I need to have it. You, I trust. Him, I trust, but I don't know yet. So I need to figure out, it's him. You know, I have to figure out how other kids are reacting to him. And thank God I didn't find anything, but I'm like, oh no, till you leave this house.
I took it to a new level. I make them text through my phone. They don't have phones. So I've got group chats from not the younger 2 really, but the older 2, all their group chats are on my phone.
And how old are they, Claire?
The older 2, one will be 14 in February and the other one will be 12 in February.
That's awesome.
They're like,
no, go ahead.
Yeah,
Jason,
go ahead.
Claire, when are you at what point do you think you'll separate and allow them to have phones? Have you decided that yet, or are you kind of just feeling it out?
I'm feeling it out. I did. This does not benefit them in any way, shape, or form, but I did purchase AirTags for all of them. So now I track them all also on Find My Friends. So if they are going, like, for example, my boys practice soccer every Friday in Santa Barbara, and sometimes another parent will drive them. So they have their AirTag, so I can watch them go, watch them come back. I know where they are if they stop at a restaurant, whatever. But in terms of getting them their own technology, I'm not even thinking about it now. Like, it's not even up for, they say they'll do anything. And I'm like, no, you won't. Because if you would do anything, your room would be clean. You'd have straight A's. And then we'd have a conversation.
Well, we'll tell you, Claire, there is certain, I love that you did it. Because I travel, wanted to be able to reach him at any point. But when I first got him, I mean, like I said, he'll be 14 at the end of the month, next month. But when I first got him a phone, I think it probably was about, sadly about 10, but it was a limited phone. It had 4 numbers that he could call. They do have those available. You know what I mean?
Drug dealers.
It really is. It's just like it. You get it through your plan and your provider. And
you get it from Avon Barksdale.
Right.
Nice pull, Mulligan.
Thank you.
You know what's funny too, though? Again, this is all the internet. Because our parents didn't, there was one creepy guy in every neighborhood and they just told you to cross the street. Don't walk past his house. When you get to his house, when you get to Mr. Johnson's house, cross the street and then you could cross back after you pass there. Now it seems like everybody wants your kid. Like, you watch TV, like I'm writing a joke that's way dirtier than what I'm about to say. But like, literally, it seems like everywhere you go, like my kids in wrestling, I'm like, I got to meet every single person in wrestling and run background checks on them because I watched Foxfire and I know how it works. So you know what I mean? Back up.
Well, also, it's funny because now I look back, and if history's taught us anything, that's the guy we thought was creepy was not the creepy dude. It was the dude next door who was like, hey, everybody good? How can I help you? That, in retrospect, years later, then it comes out, oh, that guy buried people in the back.
They're both creepy. They're both creepy.
Listen, they're both creepy. I'm not going to lie. They're both creepy.
But also, that's what you're talking about, the stand-up guy. It's the guy that had, like, the clean, jolly. It's Bill Cosby. The clean stand-up guy.
Literally.
Yeah. Although Bill Cosby, I met him early on in my career for like just passing. Okay. I was working when I first started. I did open mic. It was sponsored by a radio station, and I became a morning show host. Our morning show brought Bill Cosby to the town, and I met him briefly backstage afterwards. And I'm like an open micer, and he said, no, I said to him, do you have any advice for me? I'm doing open mics. And he said, don't let the maid in your room, because if you're on TV, they'll think you have money, and you can easily replace anything. Now I realize it's probably because he had somebody in there.
Yeah.
but it was a great tip, because I'm not saying that maids steal. Calm down, everybody. And I don't even know
and I never
the
let the
proper
maid in.
thing.
We never ever let the maid in. Ever for anything.
Yeah, never.
There's
I don't like
lot of
anybody
maids
seeing
that
this
watch
stuff.
the show, Jamie. We just lost them all.
Yes, you guys lost all of it.
Way to kill our maid viewership, Kaylor.
We have let the maid in before, but here's what's super funny is my wife will clean the room before the maid comes in.
I have
My wife does that as well.
Picks up the room, like almost cleans it, where you're like, hey, that's the maid's supposed to do that.
My husband gets mad at me at hotels. Why do you make the bed every day we're at a hotel? Because I make the bed every day at home. That's who I am. The world has two types of people: those who make the bed every day and those who don't, and those who carry all the groceries in at the same time, or those who take trips with groceries. That's it. Okay? I carry all the groceries and I make the bed every day. I'm type A. Get it through your head.
I am the same way. Messy bed, messy day. That's what I grew up hearing. Messy bed, messy day. So bed is made.
See?
Well, it's funny too, because my two daughters, we put a little chore chart. Do you guys do the chore charts?
Mm-hmm.
Make bed, brush teeth, whatever, or something. And you can tell their personalities. Claire has patience. In the famous marshmallow test, she would wait the extra 20 minutes to get the second marshmallow. Hannah, before you could even say, she'd eat the marshmallow before you could even tell her. She'd be like, what? So Claire's bed was pretty well made. Hannah had taken just the blanket and laid it on top of the bed, and the pillow and the sheet she had just jammed under the bed.
Yeah.
So she just put this little cover on the bed to go, it looks fine, but really she just jammed the garbage under there.
Yeah. It's crazy. Well, my son and my husband, if I fall asleep first, when I wake up, it literally looks like there's been a poltergeist in my house. I would have no idea if we were haunted, because every cupboard is out, drawers are out, things are stacked on top of each other. They are not neat people.
You and your husband fight over it? Like, we're the opposite. I'm actually the clean one, and my wife, she'll sit. This is her thing. She takes the tea bag out of her tea and puts it in the sink. And the trash can's right there. And I go, dude, put that in the... But she thinks because the tea bag's hot, if it combines with the plastic from the trash can, it's going to emit toxic fumes and kill us all. So that's...
Well,
how hot are these tea bags?
I try workarounds. See, so we have the same issue on the other thing, like the Keurig, right? He'll pop a Keurig cup out, and it'll just be sitting next to the coffee thing. Okay. So I started I put a little thing there to like, okay, we'll recycle them. We can even gather. I put a little tub that you could put the Keurig right there next to the coffee thing. So maybe you don't have to walk those 2 steps. Then he just sets it on top of the pot. Oh. I was like, but no, we don't argue. I married the hot kid from the slow class, so I knew what I was getting. I just remember it constantly. It's my fault. Poor choices.
Yeah, I mean, we have all made choices. I get it. That's funny. My wife does the same. She'll cut fruit and just leave it on the. She'll leave the core of the apple on the thing. One time she does this too. She brings in the Amazon package. We get like 12 a day, and she'll just open the box, take whatever she wanted out of it, and leave the box on the floor by the front door.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I took a photo of it every day for like 3 weeks, and it just stayed there. I was waiting for her.
Because they have someone to clean up. My husband thinks laundry is magic. Like somehow it's on the floor. He wears it, it lays on the floor, and miraculously within the day is back in the drawer. So, but there's someone to always do it, I think is the key. If I stop, whoever in her house, somebody did all that for her. When at my house, I'm like, if there's a piece of paper on the floor, I'll watch them walk over it.
Me too.
Oh, because the maid is here. See, that's why, maids of America, I can represent you. The maid is apparently here. The maid will fix it.
They already left. They're not here anymore.
We're at the point of melting down on the kids every day. I'm like, it would take me 30 seconds to pick that up myself. It's instead going to take me 22 minutes to make them go do it. But I do it every day.
Yeah.
No.
They won't do it.
I'm ordering a new couch right now. Actually, I should have taken a picture. For the past 4 hours, I've had the most amazing guy in my life right now here cleaning the carpet, steam cleaning the couch, steam cleaning 2 chairs, stain treating the carpet, you know, everything in the main area. I'm like, let's just tackle one room at a time. Today, just the living room. That's it. You can come back for the other rooms and the other furniture in the other rooms. Anyway, he pulled the couch. He was like, do you want me to do the back of the couch? And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to treat myself. Yes, do the back. So I pulled it away from the wall, and I'm not joking. Behind the couch was everything from underwear, yogurt tube containers, containers. I counted 17 different types of bouncy ball, soccer ball, little football, you know, bouncy ball for the pong thing. 17, a bunch of like obviously
toenails,
like boogers and toenails and dirt and dust. But totally like just back there. Anyway, I forget where I was going with this story, except now this guy has steam.
So Claire. Hey, listen, Claire. If you really care about that guy, you might want to order him a pair of Jamie's family. Every guy loves them. I'm telling you, they're very airy, spacious, and they're sexy, very sexy.
But I think my my cleaning tip for the day would be like, for us parents, maids out here, maids are us. Tackle one area at a time, because the blocker is like the whole big picture. The big picture is bad. But if I just focus on like a little corner or this cabinet or that area, then it's much better.
It's so hard, I think, just to look in general. That's a huge relationship issue. Just trying to, I think it was Courtney Cox and David Arquette had a thing about putting furniture in your style. And the other day there was something that was happening in our house. And I was talking about, I live in a house that's from 1934. It needs a lot of love. Like we've remodeled some, but it needs a lot more remodeling. And there's a lot to be done. And you know how hard it's been literally in the past couple years to get anybody to come to your home and blah, blah, blah. So I was saying, I'd like to redo this and redo that. And my husband's like, well, what if you weren't going to ask me? What if I didn't like it? And I'm like, you don't count on this. Like, this is not, what do you care? All of a sudden you have an aesthetic I have to follow. Like, there's no, what do you care? You want to leave the Gatorade bottle on the counter because in the morning you might want to sip. Like, I don't have to follow your aesthetic.
Yeah, you don't get a vote, it turns out.
Okay, so I remembered what I was going to say that when I started telling about
Claire, go.
Everybody hold on, Claire. Claire remembered. Go, Claire.
I am 100% with you with that. Unless you're going to invest time and like energy, like just go with the flow when it comes to, you know, the furnishings and the decor. And, you know, as long as it's not going overboard, like let me have a shabby chic. And I let you have whatever you need. I let you put your pod not in the trash, not in the compost, not in the recycling.
That's right.
Every day I'll do that for you. And you can sit on my shabby chic couch. So this is what I learned with this round of ordering furniture, because I'm going to redo the living room. And first I was like, let me see everything clean to see what I want to get rid of or what I want to keep. But I know I'm getting rid of the couch. And I was shopping for couches the other day. I went to a store and had this guy help me. It's a great store if anybody's in LA. And I said, I want a couch that none of the cushions come off. It's built in and it's built in, because I don't know how many times a day I pick up the cushions off the ground of the couch.
Right.
They just throw them off so that they can, you know, get more comfortable or whatever. And it's literally, you talk about like walking over a piece of paper. My kids will walk over anything. Yes. That's perfect. Yes, Jamie. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm ordering a couch. I'm 90% sure. Well, I'm 100% sure it's going to be the type where you cannot remove the cushions.
Yeah, no, I get
But
that.
the stuff still fall behind the cushion. You need to get behind the cushions. Some bad.
Wait, what?
You need to get behind the cushions at some point, unless there's no way anything can get behind the cushions. Something's
Well, you have to get the vacuum cleaner with the attachment because we have the ones that are attached and they still find a way.
Yeah, it's a terrible.
They
made a terrible choice. But here's my deal. Here's my New Year's resolution for my wife this year, and I'll do the same with you guys. I don't give a fuck. Do what you want. I'm done with it.
Oh, you can swear on this?
Whatever you want.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Swear this
I
whole
stopped
time.
Are you kidding me? Early on.
No, you could have.
Pretty early on.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
I
I've been
stopped
trying to
caring.
not swear. Well, I will tell you, I've been trying to be nicer. It doesn't sound like it, but I have been trying to be nicer. That's what you're going to get, Claire? I can.
Well, see how the back of it, the cushions are, the back is its own, it's like a chest iron couch.
Does that fold out into a bed?
No.
That looks like the ones the sides go down. That looks so cool.
Yeah. And so the only ones that come off are the ones where you need to clean underneath, but the back is set. So
Well,
this is me mentally winning 2022.
We have a white leather couch that my wife bought just before we had kids from Room and Board for a lot of money. Even though I said this is a terrible choice, but have it. And then once the kids were born, we got an IKEA couch for like $600. That's still indestructible. It's the greatest couch ever.
Yeah.
And so we have both in 2 different rooms. But yes, but my wife's starting to the kids are getting to an age where she's like, we could decorate a little bit. I was like, have fun. So I think we're going back to Room and Board and Serena and Lily. And names I don't even. I'm like, is that a furniture store? Or is that a toothpaste? What is that?
Well, and you have to be careful. Like I put out this beautiful black carpet in. It's I forgot the kind that doesn't tear. That doesn't pull. It's got a knot. Yeah, beautiful. And then we got a golden. So you can see every single hair that the dog loses. So it's so hard to have those steps. You have to pre-plan everything.
But the rug's way more expensive than the dog. Just get rid of the dog and get a black-haired dog.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually,
get out!
We get a puggle. I can ship you a puggle. He's on his way. I'm going to send him today. He'll be fine. Just pick him up there.
Poor Max.
I was gonna say this actually goes pretty well. The pictures I submitted, Jason, is very much on topic with this. Basically, every day my kids ask for a snack while they're watching television in the afternoon. Normal.
How old are they, Kate? I'm sorry.
I've got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Oh my gosh, God bless you guys.
Well, yeah. But I keep saying, like, I got to tell you, like, I feel like we moved into this house. The house is great. And we're just garbage people. We're just garbage people. Like, it's just like every carpet is got stuff on. And I keep saying, like, it makes me feel bad to like be with all this stained stuff. And my husband keeps saying, like, they're going to keep staining stuff for a while. Yeah. Like, you have to just ride out the garbage. And like, there's part, but I'm like, it doesn't feel good. But I give them popcorn one day.
I agree with your husband to some degree. Like, yes, they are going to keep staining stuff. But if it bothers you, it's just like me. I have someone come help me about every 2 weeks. They help me clean the floor. I end up cleaning at the same time. I'm putting things away because they don't do that kind of stuff.
Yes.
If it makes you feel better, once in a while, get the carpet steam cleaner. Just buy a little shampoo and do it yourself. Like, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that those little things like that, it just eases your mind. But I don't know if you're OCD. Like I said, I will lay in bed. I can't watch Hoarders because I'll have to get up to clean. Like, it's too much for me.
They are ready now.
Okay, I was gonna say, I gotta tell you, if I was OCD, my house would not be in the state that it's in. That's for sure. I am a garbage person. So they eat popcorn, and every time they eat popcorn, I put it in these little bowls. And then if you could go to the next one too, Jason, I don't know if
cute.
There's just like, you could see the carpet stain. There's just popcorn everywhere, and every time I get so
Crash
annoyed.
Bandicoot.
And yes, there goes Sonic. There goes Metal Sonic and Dr. Eggman. But it's just like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Look at that stained, disgusting carpet. You can see like there's a white spot where I did clean once. But I am I need to be like, it's like Pavlov's, like it's like the opposite of Pavlov's dog. Like, I should know when the bell rings, I'm going to get fed. Every time I give them popcorn, this happens. I'm like the mom that like got her kid a gun and is surprised the kid shot it. Do you know what I mean? It's it's like, why do I think anything different's going to happen?
I
Yeah, go ahead,
Claire.
Jason.
Go ahead, Claire.
I have some tips for you, Kate. The bowls are far too small. They're too small. Even the portion is fine. The portion of that size is fine, but the children need empty space. Think of like a Pringles can.
Wow, Claire, that is true.
They're like the claws in the claw machine. It's down.
So you need. I serve cereal, I serve soups, and I serve anything like dry, like popcorn or dry cereal or whatever, in like tumbler cups. Nothing smaller than a red party silo cup, Kate. Nothing smaller.
Okay. So these bowls, I don't know if you could track how they are, but but you're right. I do fill them. Maybe I just give them half the bowls. They're like
you fill them to the rim.
One from the movie?
Mulligan, that's a terrible choice. You fill them to the rim. You give them 5 kernels of corn. If they eat those, you give them 5 more. Are you crazy? That's
what I have to do. I actually really want to know if Claire thinks I'm coming right back. I'm coming back with the bowls. I need to know.
But Claire, I will tell you, you do want to have your carpet cleaned.
Yeah, that's
not because it's you, and I'm not being rude because of OCD. I'm saying that I found this whole thing. Carpets are horrible for our families. If you worry about black mold and things like that, they say there's so much just indetectable just gunk and toxins in the carpeting that are giving the kids maybe allergies, colds. They're holding it, especially. I want to get rid of all
the carpets.
We just pulled ours up over the last year. We're all hardwood floors now because of it. Yeah, it's all for allergies too. It's terrible. Yeah.
We have one room carpeted. It's my back room, which was the school pod room for a year. Yeah. Thank God it's not anymore. But it's that carpet that you're showing because that room in our house is like a add-on. So it is not like, it's not to code. There's no wood under there. I think it's like cement or something.
Oh my God. It's me. I have a home phone. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it.
You can do whatever you want.
I'm going to take
Come back and then we'll promote your shows.
It's my husband. I told you I'm on a podcast. What's going on? Are you okay? We're not even supposed to have a home phone anymore. Hello?
Oh, I love her.
I'm on a podcast still. What are you doing? I shut off all the other things. I forgot we have a home phone. Yeah, pick him up at 5 o'clock. I sent you 3 texts about it. Wrestling's over at 5 o'clock. All right. Thank you. Goodbye. Love you too. Goodbye.
No.
I love the throwaway. Just in case he's murdered lately. Later tonight, you can always go, well, I said love you at the end, so it's probably not.
He says I love you. If he loved me, he'd make sure he was there at 5 o'clock to pick my son up from wrestling. Okay?
He's got 15 minutes.
If I show you, look, I'm going to show you, okay? Just so you know. Okay. Going on the podcast until 5, pick up Luca. In the podcast, everything okay? Don't forget to pick Luca up on the podcast for 20 more minutes.
He works very hard. You know what? You might want to get him. Might want to get some sexy underwear.
He's hot. So
let's name those underwear. Let's name that style. It's like the shaken.
You know what?
The
shake and bake.
Mulligan, you know what we do for food? Here's what you have to do. First of all, don't even bowl it. We do a trough bag. There's a trough bag. It goes right over their ears and it hooks. And they eat like this. It's all self-contained. Yeah. And then you don't make the kids clean up. I give them the dust buster. It's like
I appreciate it. I like that you have free range floor popcorn. I like that the popcorn's just running free, whatever it wants to do.
Everyone gives them the fake vacuum cleaner. Like, oh, here's a toy and it pops. Like, pop. I go, here's the real vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, I get the real one.
I'll give it the real one. But even still, I'm just like, why am I surprised? Every time, why am I surprised that?
Do you guys have home phones? Can we be off?
No, I got rid of mine years ago.
We should. We absolutely should. We live in earthquake territory. We should all have home phones, but we don't.
You know what? I do because 1, my kids don't have cell phones and I do leave them home alone. So they have that. And 2, when same thing you said, earthquake and natural disasters and unfortunately that thing we did when we were kids where I don't know, Tammy, if you remember this in Ohio, but you could call a line and it would tell you the weather.
Time and temperature. Yes.
Yeah. I'd get up early. It's gonna be a snow day, and listen. No, it says it's only gonna be 50, not cold enough for snow.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm just gonna unplug all of my phones, keep the line, and just unplug them all, because it's just so, I mean, it's nice, I guess, right there he spoke to me, but it's also so annoying with all the spam.
We got rid of the home phone, and I was pretty excited about it. And then the alarm company was like, yeah, now you have to rent a cell tower from us. Because the phone was that's where the alarm went out. And so without the home phone, they have to come and put a cell tower in, which they charge you for. And then they charge you a monthly fee for the cell tower. So you're like,
you'd be better off keeping like what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to unplug all my home phones, keep the line, because also I kept it because, I still have a 310 area code on my cell phone. And so if I, God forbid, I have to call 911, I have to do that whole workaround to, I'm in Pennsylvania calling a California, they'll see a California number. It's all,
is that how that works?
Is that how 911 works?
Wait, it doesn't dial the local tower? I thought it dialed whatever was local.
No, if I'm dialing from 310 area code, you dial 911, it's going to reroute you.
I did not know that.
I don't think. Okay, listen.
I don't think that's true.
I don't understand.
Well, it was at one time. How about that?
That might be true.
It may not be true anymore. It was at one time.
I called 911 the other day, actually, and I still have my 630 Downers Grove area code, and it was about something I saw happening on the freeway, and they like patched me, like it was California Highway Patrol that picked up. Anyway,
did they patch you through or went right?
Immediately they picked up, and I said, I'm on the 134. I just exited, and I need to report. What was happening,
Kate? But how did 911 know that you were doing California Highway? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say a gentleman was walking on to the highway, and I felt like that was not gonna end well.
Well, I'm glad you got Jamie back home.
I got him home.
Yes, thank God, Jamie.
It was just a guy with his nuts down to his knees because they were
shaking like this.
They fell.
Just him in his underwear. Yeah.
Did his underwear look like this?
His underwear looked like that.
They're called the burn.
Down to his knees, and it was. I just felt like he was. He was a hot dude. I just wanted to save his life.
Like Tammy's husband. All right, listen, we have to end this soon. We have to end this soon. We're going to pump Tammy's gigs. I mean, obviously, we could do this all day, but I always feel bad when we bring a guest in and then we just shoot the shit for like hours.
I love it. This is so much fun.
It's pretty fun. All right, here's my last question to you, because my daughter has been on this kick lately where she's not sleeping. And she's almost in the Kramer way, when Kramer realizes if he didn't sleep, he would get so much more accomplished in life. For the last few nights, she was like, I don't really sleep. And I go, at all? And she'll come into our bed and just lay there, and then she'll go back. And she's like, hey, can I go watch TV? It's like 3 a.m. I go, no, you can't watch TV at 3 o'clock. So I'm wide awake. And part of me is like, I know it's insane, but I was like that. She's really similar to me. I kind of had this energy where I didn't sleep that much either. And I still don't sleep that much. Do you guys have little sleep rituals that you do with your kids to help them sleep? Or do you just go, I don't care?
My teenager is the same way, Jamie. I got up last night at 2 o'clock and found her on Disney Plus watching shows, like on her computer, Yeah,
but mine's in 3rd grade. She's 8 years old.
So you're talking school days. Like I let them stay up during the weekends, or it was Christmas break. My son was able to, he said, can I stay up with my cousins? And they were going to TV share, whatever the app is, watch Cobra Kai. It was coming on at 3:30 in the morning, and they, they're in New York, and I'm like, yeah, you can do that. But I think, no, I don't have a problem. My kid is like one of those old baby dolls. The moment he lays down his eyes, he closes his eyes, he goes to sleep. I don't ever.
One of mine's like that. The other one's not. The one sleeps like a rock, and the other one does not. And we'll do the same. My wife and I will be like, yeah, she'll go. Hannah will go, can I stay up as late as I want tonight? I go, absolutely. Let me see how late you can stay up. Like it's a challenge. And my wife will go along with it. Yeah, that sounds great. And then about 9:30, my wife's like, we can't let her sleep. And she has a meltdown and puts the kid to bed. I go, you got to stick by your guns. If you say let the kid stay up, let the kid stay up.
Our 6-year-old, once we get him down after the production of all the excuses and the fighting, brushing his teeth, and then singing happy birthday 87 times and all the things that we need to do to get him down. Once he's down, he's good. The twins.
Oh, how old are they?
They are 2. Oh. And Jamie, that I put them down. We put them down at 7:30 like clockwork every night. And at anywhere between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m., they wake up and you'll just hear them in their little nursery talking to each other like minions, and you just hear the back and forth to each other. And it is and Jamie, you've been on the phone with me before. You're like, is that your kids? Yeah. Isn't it like 11 o'clock there? And I'm like, I don't know. They wake up and then they're up for an hour. They have a small minion party, and then after they're done whatever they do, they go back to sleep.
Jason, we teased it earlier. I know we're trying to get out of here, but we teased the story of the separation. What was we teased it at the beginning of the show?
Oh.
Yes.
So for 2.5 years, they've never been apart for longer than an hour. And so today, one of them had a fairly extensive ear examination. So we were gone for 3 hours. And when they were separate, there was a complete behavior shift that I have never seen before in them, in that the Dark Lord looked for his brother while he was gone. And my wife said he was pressed up against the window, just like frantically beside himself, looking for him. And while I was at the doctor's office, Logan kept motioning to me to show him pictures on his phone or on my phone. And I was like, I think he wants to see pictures of Anthony. So I brought up pictures of the two of them together, and then he was happy. And and they had fought all morning before we separated them. When I brought Logan back in the house, they hugged each other. They laughed. They did their little minion, and they hugged each other, and they were inseparable for the rest of the afternoon until there was a small war over Cheetos that ended the good blood. But they were like, that separation did something to them as twins that we had never seen before.
So do you think, are you going to start instituting it? Oh, sorry.
I want to start spending a little more time of them separate so that they get used to it. But at the same time, like, it also was pretty heartbreaking to watch them like miss. I mean, they've been, since their egg split, they've been, together.
My son has two, his best friends are twins. And then I have two godsons that are twins. And so he has a lot of twin energy around him. What I've learned, though, is that when you, not only for them for separation anxiety, should you work up to it, Jason, but that one-on-one time with you guys is inseparable. For each of them to have one-on-one time with daddy and mommy, it's a different relationship. So you'll really enjoy that. My cousin started taking each of her boys out for mommy and Sunday, one at a time. And then the opposite was that daddy would have daddy and Sunday while they were at home or whatever, or they would go to a restaurant and each of them sit at different parts of it. And so they go as a family to the restaurant and sit in different areas. So it was neat.
It is.
My kids are way better behaved when they're separated.
Yes.
My wife, she didn't want to separate them for years, and I was like, we should. They need to be separated a bunch. And then when we started taking them separately to different things, it was night and day how great they were. Like, it was really fun to hang with them. They weren't total dicks. You're like, hey, this is all right. And then when the two of them get together, you're like, you're killing me.
When we do that, because we do that, like the 6-year-old, we've always done that with, taking him on his own. The twins, we had started taking that just one to the grocery store, and they're just wildless, godless heathens in the store by themselves. So I had, it was a learning experience. We were spending that time together, but it wasn't enjoyable for anyone.
Well, just like you call them the twins, it's a whole dynamic, where they have to fight. Now, both sets of them are different because, like I said, my godsons are a little bit older. That they went to a school system in Connecticut that refused to allow the boys to stay in the same class.
They do that here as well. They separate them.
My son's best friends, they've been together the entire time, their whole life.
It seems so inconvenient for the parents.
Why are they separating them?
Yeah,
I don't know, and it's real. And they fought it and everything else, but it's just
I can tell you one. So I was in the Navy, and in the Navy, as you probably know from Saving Private Ryan, back in the day, you could.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You could be on the same ship, but then a ship went down, and a bunch of brothers did die together. So they said couldn't, and they separated them. I mean, is the school trying to separate them?
I mean, with my kids, it's a matter of public safety. So it's
Nitro's over here, glycerin's on that side.
yeah, you don't mix those two things together in a public setting. It doesn't go well.
It's probably about the dynamic that makes people. If you've, it's almost like, you know, when someone speaks a different language in front of you, and if three people are in a conversation and two of them are speaking a different language, and you're sitting there, I think kids have that dynamic. Maybe that dynamic of the twins together might offset the classroom or even the teacher, for all you know.
They do take over a room when they're together, though. Like the two of them combined, it's an unstoppable force. Because I heard my wife yell earlier, like that's enough of this shit. And I heard it, and I was like, I don't know if you can hear that. And I heard my 6-year-old go, "Don't worry, Mom, I found the one over here." So, like, I don't know, somebody escaped. I'm not really sure.
Oh my God.
That should be our next t-shirt. That's enough of that shit.
That's funny. That's my favorite video. Did you ever see the guy early pandemic? He's like a serious news reporter, and he's in his office at home, and he's giving the news. And I don't know about the financial. We'll have to talk about the stock as it increases. And all of a sudden, the baby just pops the door open. He doesn't even realize the kid's behind him. And I don't know if it's a wife, the nanny, whatever's crawling on the floor trying to pull the kid out.
Yeah.
And then after he did it, which was totally natural, every other influencer accidentally had it happen, like they were going viral. And they're such bad actors. They were like, so anyway, today I'm just, my kid's here. Oops. Hold on, I'm going to get you out of here. Woo.
This is zany.
Oh, no, I hope this doesn't go viral. I'll look silly.
They did that with the naked stuff, too. Oh, my God, it accidentally caught me in the shower. Shut up.
Every commercial audition I saw for like the last year was like, okay, you're on a Zoom, but you forget you're on a Zoom and you're not wearing pants. So you stand up and they see you without pants and you're like, I got it.
As long as they're not your underwear.
Yeah, better not be wearing yours.
Your underwear.
The shaken whatever.
It's a remake of Midnight Cowboy. Hello.
Let's call him Sandy Balls by Jamie Kaler.
I'm telling you, I'm going to, listen, crotchless panties for guys makes total sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Did it sound supportive when I said yeah?
No, it sounded the opposite, I would say.
All of a sudden, this has become an improv. Yes, and?
Yes. Yes, and no.
And Kate, I'm honestly, if we're giving critique, it did almost sound a little condescending, honestly.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got everything I needed to get off my chest. Does anyone else have anything to say? Let's talk about where people can find Tammy, because she is coming to your town. And we're going to scroll your dates, I think, during a Good Haunted show.
Can we also get that picture of her back up? What is that picture, Tammy?
Hey, good Lord.
Good God.
That is me in great lighting, a phenomenal makeup artist.
Unbelievable.
And 15 pounds ago, pre-quarantine weight.
Stop.
And by the way, these are rough years. Like 3 years at that stage of the game makes a big difference. But that was when I went to my old high school to shoot my special. And because my guidance counselor in 10th grade, when I said I wanted to be on TV, said, no one from here has ever been on TV. If you want to be on TV, you're going to have to rob a bank. Okay. So I went back and took
best guidance counselor ever. Is he still there?
Best. Well, here's the thing. So she was supposed to introduce me for my special. Because like I put everybody on TV. I had the kids from the AV department, the arts department, anybody who wanted to be on TV so they could get a credit, an IMDb credit before they moved. We set up a scholarship with all the ticket sale money. We sold 700 tickets. It was amazing, right? Already she's supposed to introduce me. And she died 2 days before we did the thing. And I was like, I was really like upset. And they were like, oh, we're so sorry. And I'm like, no, I was trying to get revenge. Don't you understand? This isn't because I care. I wanted to show this bitch. Look what I've done since you like
she
5 Tonight shows later. And this bitch, I couldn't even say it then.
They're like, she died. You're like, oh, I got to write a new bit. Hold on.
Oh, we're sorry to tell you.
Show up at the funeral and go, I have some things I'd like to say.
Yeah.
This
exits are there. Rule of threes, baby.
There's the button. There's Mulligan bringing. Everyone, the exits are there, just so you know, before we start this funeral. All right, Tammy, where can people come find you? And you're touring extensively. That's what you're doing.
Well, because it's how I make my money. People say really horrible things to me. I can't believe you're touring. Garth Brooks canceled his tour because he cares about his fans. Well, I didn't write Friends in Low Places. So I have to go to work. Okay.
Oh, I wasn't thinking that. I mean, I think most of the country is still like open and raring to go, right? Yeah.
I mean, it is, and I try to do the best I can. But I'll be all over the place. I'll be at Uncle Vinny's in New Jersey in 2 weeks or next week. I'll be in February. I'll be in Columbus on Valentine's Day at the Funny Bone. The 11th through the 12th, I'll be in Philly at Helium. I'm all over. I got a million things going on.
What would your site up to? Is it just your TammyPescatelli.com?
That's it. But yeah, just go to any of my socials at Tammy Pescatelli.
Yeah.
Just figure it. And
here's your Instagram post, right? That was
This is my new headshot right here. This is my new headshot.
By the way, even that picture on the left, you're gorgeous.
Oh, you're too.
By the way, for next week, our one job is we're all going to do a bigger filter.
You should.
I don't think you're going to notice much of a difference. I'm going to look like one of the clumps if I do it.
Oh.
I did old man filter. You know the old guy one you could do for a while?
Yeah.
And honestly, I was like, oh, that's not too bad. I can live with that in a couple of years. And that was like before the pandemic. And now I look in the mirror and I go, oh, that filter came on fast, man.
Well, it's so funny. That's right. Like I can't tell the difference between them. But it's funny. I did one of those videos to advertise a show as they make us do now all the time. And I did all of the filters in the one video, like everything from old to young to different color hair to mustache. And my son was like, oh, that's horrible, Mom. I go, oh, me and the mustache is you. This is you when your mustache comes in. So don't make fun of it. This is going to be you.
That's you. He's like,
you look horrible. Oh, no, that's you.
You look horrible, it turns out.
All right, let's wrap this thing up, shall we? We have to. We can go on forever, but I guess we can't. So, hey, but a big hand for our guest today, Tammy Pescatelli.
Thank you, guys. Much love. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for sharing.
I'm fans of you guys, so thank you
love
for
you.
letting me play.
Thanks for popping on. All right, we'll let her go. Claire and Kate,
Yes.
you guys take us out. Take us out. Tell everyone what they need to do to follow and subscribe and say goodbye to everybody, will you?
Well, Jamie, you said it. You said it very eloquently. Follow, subscribe, and please go rate, review, and share with your friends the Parent Lounge podcast. And you can follow each of us on our own handles, which are in the lower left corner of our boxes.
Except for somebody.
Wait, you're going to stand up and show them you don't have pants on?
Oh.
My handle's not just my name, unfortunately. You can find me at Katest Mom Ever. So it's exactly.
Well, next week, why don't you put that in there, Mulligan? And we're going to start working on a Facebook page for you. We're gonna bring you into the new century. Hey, thanks to everybody.
You don't have pants on?
Oh.
My handle's not just my name, unfortunately. You can find me at Katest Mom Ever. So it's exactly.
Well, next week, why don't you put that in there, Mulligan? And we're going to start working on a Facebook page for you. We're gonna bring you into the new century. Hey, thanks to everybody for checking us out. I guess that's it for this week from the Parents Lounge. We got a lot of big guests coming up over the next few weeks. So
and we are running a contest.
Yes.
One more
Get your scotch or your wine glass.
Yeah.
Get your scotch or your wine glass, and also share with your friends and let us know online what you want to hear talk about, because we're open.
We are open. Thank you guys so much for being part of this. I hope you guys feel a little bit better about your parenting woes as we do. I feel a little better after venting.
You feel better after seeing my carpet. You're like, you know what? I live in a great place.
Kate.
I'm going to send you my guy.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, Kate. We all enjoyed your carpet very much. Keep it to yourself, please. If you want, I can pop these on. You can see my carpet. Anyway, That's all we have this week from the Parents Lounge. We'll see you guys next week. And thanks so much. Have a good one.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.